there's a lot going on in terms of security with also the Trump administration, but Lukashenko is holding new presidential elections on January 26th. This will most likely extend his rule for a longer time. How do you see this playing out?
You know, what you call elections in the democratic world has nothing in common with elections in Belarus, because it will be imitation, it will be farce, it will be like ritual for Lukashenko, and the only intrigue about these so-called elections is what number will be in the final ballots. It will not change anything for perception of Belarusian people of this regime illegitimate, and of course we urge our democratic allies continue the policy of non-recognition of this regime.
So what do you plan to do about it?
What do you mean what to do? We are going to do about this? We are not going to recognize, you know, people in the country continue to resist undergroundly. Those who are in exile, we continue to make this regime pariah and call for political, economical, diplomatic isolation of Lukashenko's regime, but on the other hand, support and trying to strengthen the Belarusian movement, Belarusian people, our civil society, our media, our agents of democratic forces, and I'm so grateful to our allies that they continue to work with democratic forces like representing Belarusian people and not with Lukashenko's regime.
I mean, there's been a lot of talk about security changing, of course, in Europe because of the second Trump administration. How do you see that changing?
You know, the USA was always a beacon of freedom and hope for nations who are fighting for democratic changes. And I want to believe that the USA as a country, they will stay principled in the support, you know, in the perception of dictators. And of course, I feel a little bit of uncertainty, you know, during this forum, what's going to happen then. But what's important for us, Belarusian people, is to stay independent country, because now Lukashenko, illegitimate dictator, selling our sovereignty and independence to Putin, and so there are so many talks about possible negotiations about Ukraine and Russia. We need to make sure that Belarusian issue is also raised during these negotiations, because we are of strategic importance of the peace and security in the whole region, and without democratic Belarus, there will be no stability and security in Europe. So if President Trump says that America first, I think that free and democratic and independent Ukraine and Belarus are in their interests as well.
So there's no question in your mind that actually the future of Ukraine also, I guess, you know, changes the future of Belarus?
The changes in Belarus, of course, in much extent depends on the victory of Ukraine, because if from the conflict, this war will be frozen, it will be status quo for Belarus for many, many years ahead. You know, the repressions will continue, political prisoners are behind the bars, so it will be more difficult, you know, for us to get this window of opportunity for the changes. But again, you know, no one war and no one fight cannot be won when you are alone. We need allies. Ukrainians, of course, need allies. They need to give everything possible, you know, to win this war. They have to be in the strongest position during this negotiation. And actually, of course, our country is also looking on Trump's policy, what's going to happen. And do you think it's in, Trump's can talk in the language of ultimatums, you know? Leadership is also about possibility to talk to dictators on the language of strength, and you have such possibility. So leadership is when you show that dictators are afraid of you, that they can listen to you. So this is about leadership. So we are waiting for strong actions, not betraying, of course, interest of Ukraine and Belarus.
Do you believe this is a very delicate time because Belarus could be used through Russia to actually attack other countries?
Of course. While Lukashenko is there, while he's puppet of Putin, our territory can be always used for attacking our, not only Ukraine, but also our western neighbors, Poland, Lithuania. We already see deployment of nuclear weapon, orchestrating the migration crisis, different provocations on the borders. It will be endless until Lukashenko is there. So that's why, you know, in Belarus, democracy should come, and this dictatorship should be dismantled. What Belarusian people are afraid of, now that maybe at the moment of this peace negotiations about Ukraine, Belarus might be given as, cancellation prize to Putin, as like bargaining chip. And we need powerful leaders of this world, to stay with Belarus and demand its independence.
But Lukashenko is claiming that he's also hosting Russian nuclear weapons in the country. Do you believe that to be true?
Look, we have no real proofs that nuclear weapon is already there, but facilities for nuclear weapon is in our country. And of course, it's one more step of Russia to anchor their presence in Belarus for many, many years ahead. And just in case of using this weapon, this reconciliation attack will be on the territory of Belarus, so not on Russia. So it's like usage of our country, of our nation with the help of Lukashenko against the will of people.
What role do you see Belarus actually playing in European security if democracy returns?
Look, I think that the European Union project will not be completed without Belarus and Ukraine. Only independent and European Belarus and Ukraine can be reliable partners for our Western neighbors. So that's why don't look at assistance to democratic forces of Belarus or Ukraine as charity. It's your investment into your own security. We are fighting not for our pieces of land, for our nations. We are fighting against brutal dictatorships that are already threatening your nations as well.
How stable do you think the regime of Lukashenko is right now?
They might seem like monolithic and stable, and of course they are backed by Putin. But believe me, dictatorship are not immortal. They are very unstable inside, and we see how many informants and allies we have inside the regime who providing us different information, and we see that people in the regime, they hate each other, they don't trust each other. So any volatile situation will break everything.
But could you see a fall like we saw Assad in Syria?
Look, it might be like this. It might be internal coup d'état. It might be this moment of opportunity might be connected with the Ukrainian victory or some economic issues. But our task as people is to be prepared for this moment, to be as strong as possible, to have strong society, strong free media, and to have weakened regime, weakened through sanctions, through political isolation. And you gave this Assad example. It was like a lesson for Lukashenko as well, that at the moment of turbulence, your ally, Putin, might not come and save you again if you are not in his interest anymore.